What's going on, guys? I'm xrsbuilt and welcome back to another Minecraft Bedrock program showcase video. In this video today I'm going to be going over my brand new BDS Sidekick program, which is going to be a Bedrock dedicated server UI. BDS Sidekick adds a ton of features to the BDS software, allowing you to have automatic backups, automatic saves, logging, automatic beta API pack updating, and even automatic server updating with just a click of a button. Well, with the click of a button I say automatic, I guess it would be more of semi-automatic. But hang around till the end of the video, that way you can see all of the cool features that BDS Sidekick offers if you're running a BDS server. Now, a few things that I need to get out of the way and address. First and foremost, I'm seeing a lot of questions for my tutorials, my add-ons, and I'm sure going forward will be my programs as well, where there is a lot of questions being asked that are answered in the videos. I put quite a bit of time into putting all these videos together to make sure that I'm educating you with everything that you need to know for each of my add-ons or programs that I make, which means that you're doing yourself an entire injustice if you're not watching the video and you're waiting for a response from me, because you can finish watching the 10 or 15 minute video and get the answer that you're needing instead of waiting several hours for me to answer your question via the comments or the Discord. So watch the full video. Most of the answers are in the video. If there's not, you're always welcome to reach out to me on Discord or in the comments. You can also check the comments for previously answered questions, or I do also include a frequently asked questions section inside of my add-ons and also the programs going forward. The second thing that I need to touch base on is you are using this software at your own risk. Now, I have thoroughly tested this. I have not had any problems with corruption or anything like that, and I have added increased safety code just to give it a little bit of a buffer so nothing like this ever does occur. But you're using a computerized system, so there is always a very small chance at that, even with the base Minecraft game, that you might run into some issue like corruption or problems with your world. The reason I say that is because I want to encourage you to always make a backup of your world before using any add-ons. This includes mine or any other add-ons, and that goes for the same with the programs as well. By using this program, I am not responsible for any corruption that may occur. Like I said, there is practically no chance that this can happen, but there is always a very small minuscule chance, even with the base Minecraft game. With that being said, I think that's enough jibber jabber. Let's jump into this. I'm going to cover how to download this, how to install it, then we'll do a brief overview of all of the features that this has to offer. I'll go further into detail with those features, and I'll also make sure that all of those are timestamped inside of the comments for you. That way you can find each specific section that you're looking for. With that being said, let's jump into it. In order to download the BDS Sidekick, you're going to go to my website at xrsbuiltx. You're going to go over here to the download section. And there is currently not a section for the programs, as this is going to be one of the first programs that I have put together. When you go to download this, there will be a fifth section here that's going to say Bedrock Dedicated Server Programs or something along those lines. You're going to click that and it's going to bring you to a page, something along the lines of this, which is for my behavior packs, but it's going to be for the programs instead. You're going to find the BDS Sidekick, then you're going to click on the Download BDS Sidekick button. Now that will of course bring you to the landing page for the BDS Sidekick. It's going to give you information just like it does for this Bedrock Statistics add-on pack. You're going to have notes from the creator. You're going to have this video that you're watching, which is going to be on the screen here. And then you're going to have a quick overview of what this program offers. Then at the very bottom here, you will have the Download BDS Sidekick button. You're going to give this a click. Once that finishes downloading, you are going to copy this and you're going to move this to where you want this to permanently reside on your computer. In this case, I'm just going to move it to my desktop here. So we're going to paste it and then we're going to extract this zip file. This is going to extract it exactly to where the desktop is. So it's going to put it in a BDS Sidekick folder on the desktop. So we're going to extract it. And now that we have extracted this, we don't need this anymore. We can delete it because we have all of the contents of that folder in this one here. So now we can double click this and then you're going to find another folder named BDS Sidekick inside of this folder. You're going to copy all of the contents of this. You're going to cut this, then you're going to go back one and you're going to paste it here. We don't need two BDS Sidekick folders, only one. That way we're not making a really long path whenever we go to load those into our config. Once all of these files are in here, you can delete this empty BDS Sidekick folder. So you should have only these files inside of this. And whenever you click this BDS Sidekick, it should go, let me get rid of downloads. Whenever you click this, it should go directly into these files. Now, if you double click this right now, because nothing is set up, you're going to get a bunch of traceback errors. And that is because we need to set this up first. So the very first thing that we need to do is go over to our config file. We are going to double click this, and you're going to see a bunch of parameters in here that we can set. Now later in the video, I'm going to be going over these and showing you how to set these. However, I will tell you the BDS path and the world folder path, we are going to be setting these. The backup folder, log folder, any of the colors here, along with auto backups, auto saves, keep alive, and also the default saves folder, we are not going to change any of those. I recommend keeping those all the same. However, I will show you how to change these other values and what exactly they mean later in this video. So for now, we need to focus on these top two, the BDS path and the world folder path. The BDS path is going to be the path for the bedrock_server.exe, and then this is going to be the world path for the actual world file. So the way that we're going to find these is we're going to go to our folder here. We're going to double click it to open up the BDS Sidekick folder, and then we're going to go to the BDS folder here. We're going to right click this, because all of our Bedrock dedicated server software is going to be loaded into this folder. We're going to go to properties. We're going to copy the location here, and then we're going to go back to our config file, and we're going to paste this, making sure that we're not placing any unnecessary space on BDS path. And we're also going to do the same thing for world folder here. These paths are going to be unique to your computer and where you put the file on your computer. Next, we want to route into this folder. So we're going to do a /. We're going to do a capital BDS and then another /. We're going to do the same thing on this one here. Now this is essentially saying it's taking it to the desktop, going into the BDS Sidekick folder, and then into the BDS folder. So that's going to bring you into this folder where we have all of our BDS software saved. Now by using the BDS quite a bit, I can tell you our default folder location for the BDS path is going to be all lowercase bedrock_server.exe, and that will allow it to find that executable file inside of the BDS that we're going to put in there. Then on the world folder in the BDS, we're going to do /worlds with an S. We're going to / and then we're going to type a capital BEDROCK space level. It has to be just like this. Now it does name it Bedrock level by default with the standard Bedrock dedicated server software. You can change this inside of your BDS server properties and of course in your world file. If that is the case, it does need to be changed here as well. But for this demonstration, to keep things simple, we are just going to keep it as the standard Bedrock level. And then whenever you load your world into the BDS, just make sure that it is named exactly like this, Bedrock level. We are going to save this, or you can hit Control S for the shortcut. And now we're going to go back to our BDS Sidekick folder. At this point, we need to install the Bedrock dedicated server into this BDS folder. So what we're going to do is go to minecraft.net, enus download server bedrock, or you can just Google Bedrock dedicated server download. It will bring you to this landing page, and you are going to scroll down. You're going to check the box for the Minecraft dedicated server software for Windows, and then you're going to hit the download button. Next, you can open up your downloads folder to locate this. After it's fully done downloading, you can minimize your web page, and we're going to take this folder and we are going to drag it into the BDS folder here. That's going to transfer all of the files. At that point, you can close out of your downloads folder. We're going to go into the BDS folder. We're going to go to this zip, and we're going to extract everything to this folder here. And once that's done extracting, which usually takes about 5 minutes depending on your computer, we can delete this zip folder, and we have everything that we need inside of this Bedrock server. Now we do want to take all of the contents of this folder, and we are going to cut this and then bring it back one folder. Once you do that, you can delete this empty folder here. That way, whenever you go into your BDS folder, it goes directly into all of these files. The reason we're doing that is because it makes things more simple. That way, for example, if I left this inside of the BDS folder, this path would have been BDS Sidekick /BDS/BDS/Bedrock server exe. So it just makes things a little bit more simple. But as long as you put it here, it should work properly. You just want everything to be directly available whenever you click into this. So now that we have everything inside of the BDS folder, we are now able to go back. If you are unsure on your paths, a good way to verify that these are all correct is if you go into the BDS server software, you can right click on Bedrock server exe, go to properties. You're going to copy the full location here, and you would paste it right where the BDS path is. Then you would do a /, Then you would go up here and copy the bedrock server.exe, and you would paste that after the /. You could do the same exact thing on the world levels. So if you go back, you'll notice that there's not a world folder that's generated yet. This will generate as soon as you open up the BDS server. We can open that up. It's going to run the server for the first time, which will populate a few additional folders and files. You can type stop into here. That will stop the server and close it. And now you'll notice that you have the worlds folder here. You can double click into your worlds folder, find your bedrock level folder and right click it, go to properties, and then copy the location here, just like you did before. You can paste this into your config file, do a /, and then just like before, grab bedrock level, exactly as it's printed there, and paste it there. This is a surefire way to make it exactly the way that it should be. Just make sure that you're including your // and there's no unintentional spaces. At this point, we have everything that we need, so we can go back into our worlds folder. We can go ahead and close this to keep this tidy. We're going to go back, and then we're going to double click on the BDS server Sidekick. This is going to open up the program for the very first time, and this is generally what the layout looks like. Now, I will tell you that I will ship this with the keep alive off. That way it does not automatically start whenever you are installing it for the first time. I'll also let you know that this is going to also need permission to go through your firewall. So it should be able to prompt and ask you if you would allow it through the firewall, which is necessary if you want to play with anybody outside on the internet. So be sure to allow permissions. The second thing is this may be detected as a virus. This is because Microsoft has absolutely no clue what this program is and who made it. I'm not the most popular content creator, and this is a brand new software. Microsoft has not had enough time to go over the program and deem it safe or unsafe. So to keep things safe for everybody, they flag it as a potential virus. I assure you this is not the case. This is just a new program that has not been tried and true yet. Another thing to note, you might see the UI is a little janky. Now, I have been struggling to get this fixed. I've been using the tkinter with the Python, and it's definitely been a learning curve as well as learning Python itself. So I'm still making some changes to make the UI perfect for all different screen sizes. It is usable. Just be aware you might run into things such as this being out of place. That will be fixed in later versions. Now, if you have never set up a BDS server before, then you will have to do some additional steps that I'm not going to cover in this video, such as port forwarding and things of that nature. This video is already going to be long enough, so I'm not going to be covering that. However, there is an absolute ton of videos on YouTube showing how to set up a Bedrock dedicated server. Just give that a quick search and you'll be able to set up your server and get it working properly. So doing a quick overview, on the left hand side you have the console log display. This is basically going to show you everything that is logged in the BDS server, plus some things that will be logged on the BDS server Sidekick. At the very bottom you have a command bar that you can type in your commands and send them with this button. And on the right hand side you have a player bar, which is going to show all of the active players online. Down below you have the control panel where you have auto saves, auto backups, and keep alive. You also have the information for all of those corresponding check marks. And then you have the buttons to start and stop the server, manual backup, update packs, open the config file, open the server properties, open the backup folder, open the log folder, open the save folder, toggle theme, which allows you to toggle through dark mode, light mode, and a custom set color. I'll go over that more. And then you have one to open up the allow list, and then also a update server button. Again, I'll go over all of these in more detail. Upon final release, I will probably move the allow list over to this area here and move toggle themes down here. That way you have all of these 6 buttons to open up folders grouped together because of my OCD, but the buttons will just be in a different location. They'll do the same thing. At the very bottom, we have a box that's going to credit the builder, which is going to be me, created and managed by xrsbuilt, copyright 2025. We have a button that will take you directly to my YouTube page, and also a button that'll take you directly to my website. I'm also going to put a donations button over here, or buy me a coffee or something along those lines, just for anybody that wants to support me building programs and add-ons like these. It's totally optional, and it'll just make things a little bit easier if you choose to do so. By all means, you watching this is support enough for me, and I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. But if you want to go the extra mile, that button will be there, and any additional support is greatly appreciated. So as you can see, the server is running. If we bring up Minecraft here, we are inside of a regular world for my intro, so we're just going to leave that. And you can see that this is popping up on land, so we can go ahead and join this world. And as soon as we do, you will see that xrsbuilt joined the world. You can also see it logged down here, which is really nice. Now this is going to basically keep track of all of the players that are in the world playing, so you can take a glance at that player bar and know exactly who is online. And of course, whenever I leave this world, it's going to remove the player from that as well. Now I do want to join this again, that way I can show you what the manual backup does. So whenever we hit the manual backup button, that is going to send a message in game here on Minecraft. So if we bring this over here, and then we hit the manual backup, you'll see that it's going to basically tell everybody that the server will be restarting in 1 minute for a manual backup. And we can fast forward and you can see server is now restarting for the backup. And you can see that we briefly had a server is backing up yellow sign up in the top right. Now it's showing that the server is stopped, and then it's going to go through its backup process and restart the server. And now we have the green indicator in the top right showing that the server is now back up and running. And we could confirm that by clicking OK, and we should have the server running inside of our worlds where we're able to join it, which as you can see is back up and running. Now with the manual backup, we can go to the backup folder, and as you can see, this is the one that just backed up on today's date at 9:23 a.m., which is the current time. If we double click into this, you can see that it only backs up the necessary world files. It's not going to back up the behavior packs or resource packs because there's no need to. That just adds additional bloat to the size of the backup. So I've trimmed as much as possible to make this as lightweight as possible. If you ever need to use this backup, you would just take your current copy of your world, or preferably a save, and then just copy and paste these into that world where you replace all of your world files with these, and then that will restore your world back to what it was on this backup. Simple enough. Now if we go into the config file again, the backups can be set where you can put a limit of 5. You can change this to 10, 15, however many backups you want. Just keep in mind you are saving a world, so if your world is large, it can add a ton of space to your hard drive, so be sure to keep track of that. Your backup times, these are going to be in military time. So this is currently backing up at midnight, 6 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 o'clock. You can add more than 4 here if you choose, or you can add less if you choose. Just make sure that it is in this format. If you don't know how to read military time, you can go to Google and just type in what is 5 p.m. in military time, and it will give you the answer. Just make sure that it is formatted like this, where there's no spaces, you have a colon in between the hour and minute, and you have a comma in between each of them separating them. So before we move on to the update packs button, I just want to backtrack a little bit and just cover the checkboxes here. So the checkbox on the left here is auto save. If that is checked, then it's going to enable the autosave feature. If it's unchecked, then it's going to disable it. As you can see, it will log it inside of the console log here. We are going to leave this checked, and then the same thing for the backup. If this is checked, it will auto backup. If it's not checked, it will not. We're going to leave that checked as well. Keep alive is exactly that. It's going to keep the server alive. So if the server crashes for any reason, it's going to restart the server and basically automatically minimize downtime. And as you can see, if it's unchecked or checked, just like the others, it's going to basically log inside of the console log. The autosave here is going to show inside of the intervals. So it's going to save in an interval of 60 minutes, which is by default. And it's going to tell you the next save will happen in approximately 8 minutes. Well, 7 minutes here. And we have the same thing for the auto backups, which the next backup is at 12 p.m. And that's going to happen in approximately 53 minutes. Now, as mentioned before, if we open up the config file, you can set all of these. So starting with the saves, the autosave interval is every 60 minutes. You can change this to whatever minute value you would like, as long as you keep it formatted like this. So if you wanted it to save every 30 minutes, you can put 30. If you wanted every 3 minutes, you could put 3. We're going to leave this on the default of 60. This will save to the save folder. Again, I do not recommend changing this. The autosave limit is 10, which means it's going to put 10 saves in the save folder before it starts deleting the oldest save. So every time that it writes a new save, it's going to delete the oldest one. You can change your limit to whatever you would like. If you want to have a limit of 20 or 15, just keep in mind these are world files that are being saved and they can add up in size relatively quickly. So be conscious of your hard drive space. Auto backups, auto saves, and keep alive. These values are going to change whenever you check or uncheck the box. So these you would not change at all. And then the backups, in order to put the backup time in, you would put it in formatted like this in military time or 24-hour format. So 0000 would be midnight, then you have 6 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. You can add more of these or less of these if you would like by just adding a comma and then your additional time. Just make sure that it is formatted exactly like this. Now with the backup limit, you can set the limit of the amount of backups that it will save before it deletes the oldest value. This by default is set to 5. You could set 5, you could set 10, whatever you would like. Just keep in mind again with the size limit as it is the world that you're saving. Now whenever the saves and the backups are done, it's not going to save the behavior packs or resource packs. It's only going to save the required world files. That way we can save on the space because there's no need to back up the behavior or resource packs. And again, just like the saves, I would not recommend changing the backups folder location. Now as far as the keep alive goes, we can bring up the Bedrock server here just to demonstrate this. And as you can see, we have Bedrock level, which is currently running here. And if we were to bring up our task manager and we were to close Bedrock server exe just to simulate a crash, we can end the process and you will see very briefly that is going to detect that it stopped running. It's going to go into the restart process for the keep alive, and then it's going to bring that server right back up. So as you can see, the server is back up and running. And you'll get a log that says server is backing up or it appears to have crashed, restarting due to the keep alive. So this keep alive feature will really help minimize any downtime that you may have, and is very, very handy. Now moving on to the update packs, I need to stop the server. That way I could change the world. With the default BDS, it's not going to have any kind of packs on it because it's a newly generated world. So what I want to do is go into the BDS, the worlds folder. I'm just going to add a 1 to this, that way it can no longer detect the Bedrock level. And then what I have here is just a old world that I have named Bedrock level, that way it can detect it. It does have a bunch of resource packs, behavior packs, and stuff like that. Many are outdated and are going to throw a lot of errors, just to warn you. But the reason why I'm copying these over is to demonstrate the update packs button. So now that it's named just the Bedrock level, it will be able to read and detect this world. Since there's a 1 there, it's a different name, it will not detect that one. We're going to go in here and we're going to delete most all of these packs, excluding, let's do free cam. And then we're going to delete these. That way we don't have to worry about the millions of errors that those are going to throw. And then we're also going to do the same thing for the resource packs. This is an old world and we don't use this anymore. Going into the free cam, I'm going to make sure that this is predated, which it is. It's predated to the 1.18.0, and on this is outdated as well. Both of these would be 2.0.0 for the latest version of Minecraft. So we can go ahead and start our server, and we should be able to have that new world loaded up, and you see that it is now flagging that there is a invalid module version in the manifest file for the server and the server UI. This is showing that it is detecting that it is currently 1.18, but the available version for beta is 2.0.0, and it's doing the same thing for the UI. It's detecting the 1.0.0 beta, and the available version for this one is 2.0.0. Now, normally you would be able to go in here and manually update all of these, and you can. It can be quite a bit of work. I do have a video showing how to manually update these as well. But instead of manually updating these, we can just hit the update packs button, and whenever you have an outdated beta API pack, such as any of my add-ons that use beta APIs, this will be able to read the outdated versions for all packs on the world, and then upon hitting the update packs button, it's going to update them all very, very quickly. So if we hit update packs, it's going to prompt, we have update the following modules, and it's showing the new modules that you would update them to. You're going to hit yes. And then it's asking if you would like to restart the server now for it to take effect. We're going to hit yes once more. Again, I'm still working on the resizing of the UI. And as you can see, it shows that it has updated everything. And now the world has started. You can see that we no longer have any error codes. And if we jump into the world, you will see that FreeCam now works. We can type $FC. And FreeCam will work just as it's supposed to. We can move around, and the add-on has been updated to the latest version by just hitting the update packs button. Now, as mentioned, this update packs button will scan all of the packs that are in the world file, and it will update those that have the outdated version. So if all of them have outdated versions, it will update all of them. However, what this will not do is fix a broken pack that is broken due to another reason other than just being outdated. Say they changed the code and the code was actually needing to be changed to something else. That would be up to the developer to fix that pack. So it's not a cure-all for any packs that need to be updated. However, it will update the manifest file for you automatically with the click of a button, and in most cases get your packs up and running, working properly again. Moving on to open config, you have seen what this does. It opens up the configuration file. This is the configuration file for the BDS Sidekick. The server properties is going to open up the server properties for the base Bedrock dedicated server software. Again, this is all of your standard settings for the BDS server, and a lot of this is covered whenever you learn to set up a Bedrock dedicated server. As mentioned, if you need to know about any of this, there is a ton of different videos on YouTube that will help walk you through setting this stuff up. Backup folder is where it's going to save the automatic backups. Now, there has been some amount of time in between clips because I'm busy between work and recording. So as you can see, we have had the automatic backup that took place at 12 o'clock. So we have 3 in here now. Again, all of your settings are going to be in the config file for the backup. So you would have a limit of 5 in there. Your backup times would be set in here. And the default folder is the backups folder. Open log is going to open up the log file to where it's going to print out logs. And that's basically going to show you everything that has happened in the log that has been saved. It's going to save it for the date and time. This is predominantly used for diagnosing problems. This is on by default. I have not added a checkbox for this because it doesn't really take a whole lot of performance to go ahead and write this log. If you think that I should add a dedicated checkbox to enable or disable the log, let me know and I can certainly make this happen. Save folder is going to open up the save folder where we have the periodic saves here. This is set for every 60 minutes. So you can see it's saved at 10 a.m., 12 p.m., and 1 p.m. And of course that was 14 minutes past. It did not save at 9 because I did not have the server running at that time. Moving on, we have the allow list. This will open up the allow list for the Bedrock dedicated server. Now I put this on here as an option, and you can go in here and add and remove people from the allow list. However, the easier way of doing this would just be by typing a command in here. Whenever you type your command, you're not going to include a backslash. So for the allow list, we would just type allow list add and then your username. And then we would hit send command. You can see that it sent the command and added the player to the allow list. Now, if we look in that allow list, we have rsbuilt added in there. You can also run a command such as allow list. That will list everybody that is on the allow list, which is just rsbuilt. And you can also type in allow list remove rsbuilt, send command, and then it will remove from the allow list. So like I said, you don't have to go in here unless you want to look over the allow list and see who all is on it. You can also run that list command, but it's there for an option if you need it. Now I will eventually move this allow list button over to where the toggle theme is. That way we have these 6 different buttons that open things all together in one group. Toggle theme will be moved down to where allow list is. The toggle the theme button, you can toggle through the theme. So we have the light mode, and then we have the custom color mode and the dark mode. If you keep clicking this, it will just continuously cycle throughout those. If you want to set a custom color, you're going to click this color set wheel. Like I said, I'm working on fixing the UI where it's scalable for all different sizes of screens and resolutions. So bear with me while I get this fixed. That will probably be the next update. If we click this color set wheel, you can essentially set this to whatever color you want in the rainbow. So if we wanted to do, say, like a hot pink, we can do a hot pink. Well, it's kind of more of like a pale pink. We could do a red if we wanted to, and this will save the color. So if you want to go back to the dark mode, you can click that again, light mode, and then it will go back to that pre-saved color, even if you exit out of the program and restart it. The only thing that I will tell you is if you set it to the same color as the server is running, server is stopped, or server is backing up, then it might make this hard to see. If you think that this is a problem, I can always put this in its own dedicated box as well, just to help it stand out. For me, I prefer having the dark mode. I think that's a really nice looking color, and it blends the UI really nicely. Now for the update server, this button is really cool as well. This allows you to automatically update the server with just the click of a button and moving a file. So what you would do is go to BDS whenever there's an update. You're going to download that from the official Mojang website to get the new BDS file for the server. In this case, I'm going to use a old one, that way I can backdate the server that's on here. So I'm going to copy this one, we're going to stop the server, allow that to do its save, and then once that has stopped correctly, then we are going to change out our folder inside of our BDS Sidekick. So for this, we're going to delete everything inside of here. And once all that's deleted, we're going to put this old predated server on here. And now once all of this is saved, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut all of this, go back one, and then paste this in here, just like the other BDS server was. We're going to get rid of this empty folder, just like we did before. And we essentially have the same exact thing that we had previously. Now whenever we start the server, it will be predated to the older version. Now this one does have some older files in it, so we're just going to delete those old worlds. We're going to focus on the project Bedrock, and we're just going to delete these packs. That way there's not a whole bunch of errors and stuff, because they are old and I'm sure they need updating. We're going to do the same thing with the resource packs as well. The next thing I need to do before starting this is going into the worlds folder, and because this is named something different than the Bedrock level, we're going to change this back to the default name. That way this matches what is on the configuration folder here. So as you can see, it will match the Bedrock level whenever it tries to find that world. Now we're going to restart BDS Sidekick. We can hit start server, and in the log you'll immediately see that it has version 1.20.61.01, which is a outdated version. And if we bring our Minecraft over, land discovery is not turned on for this specific world, so we can go to servers, and I have a test server down here set up. And if we try to play on that server, we're going to get a message the host is using an older version of Minecraft. Everyone should update to the latest version of Minecraft and then try again. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So in order to do this, we are going to go back to the Minecraft Bedrock server download page, and since we have already downloaded this, there's no need for me to re-download it. I can just grab this new version of the server. Then we're going to go back to our BDS Sidekick folder and then go into the update server folder. Inside of this folder, you will find two subfolders. You're going to go to the new server file and double click on that, and then paste all of the contents into this folder here. You want to leave this as a zip exactly how it comes whenever it's downloaded. If we go back, there's also a completed one. Whenever all of this is done updating, it's going to remove it from here. It's going to put a copy of the new files in here along with the leftover files. So with our new server files being in here, that's all we need in order to initiate this update. Now updating the server, you obviously do not want to do that while it's running, so you're going to stop the server first. And now that the server is stopped, we can hit the update server button. It's going to start initiating the update process, which will take a few minutes depending on the size. And you'll see that it has found the update zip file, which is the 1.21.83.1 zip. It's going to walk through the process as it continues to do it. And then once it's done, you'll get a server update complete. It's going to give you a notification here asking if you want to delete the contents of the completed folder. This you can delete by clicking yes if you have no use for them. However, I'm going to open up the folder and show you these. So if you remember the completed folder I was talking about, the new server file folder is now empty, and the completed folder is going to have the Bedrock server that has been basically copied over. We also have the leftover files here. So we have everything that was not copied. The reason why these were not copied is there's no reason to. Now these behavior packs and resource packs and definitions, everything from these were copied. You can see that these are empty. The config has not been copied. The reason being is some packs will actually use part of this config, and if you copy it, it can basically erase the data that you put inside of your permissions.json. Definitions were all copied over along with resource packs. Those are vital for the update. And then it does not copy any of the Allowlist, permissions, profanity filter, or server properties, as these are files that you would normally modify to fit your needs. And if we rewrote these, then it would basically put a brand new blank version of these inside of your game. So you'd have to go and rewrite all of these, which is never fun. If we go back, we can go into this folder here, and then you can see some of the folders that were copied. So for example, since Bedrock server's not there, that was copied. Bedrock server how to, that's not there, so that was copied. And of course your release notes, along with all of the stuff inside of the folders, all of this would have been copied as well. So now that all of this has been copied, the very last thing is this text log, which goes by and shows every individual copy that has been copied over, and I basically have it in these sections here. So you can see that they are in their own category. And then all the way up here would list all of your behavior packs, and then down below would be your resource packs and so forth. Again, this is more or less just a log of what has happened. It's not really something that you're going to need in most cases. Now, if you wanted to, you could go back here, open up this, and whenever you hit yes, it's going to clear all of those folders inside of the completed folder and leave the completed folder empty. That way we can use it for next time. And now at this point, the server should be all up to date. All we have to do is hit the start button. As you can see, we now have a new version of 1.21.83.1, which is the most up to date as the time of this video. Now for the moment of truth, let's bring up the game and see if we can actually join it. And as you can see, we were able to join the game here. Let me spread this over so we can actually see what's going on here. And you can see ours built in the game. I have just successfully spawned. And now the server is all up to date and ready to use with just one click of a button and, well, changing one file. Pretty cool, huh? Now the very last thing that I want to show is actually something else that I have been working on, and I have not quite compiled it yet. This is compiled, so it is a valid exe. Since you have made it this far in the video, I'll go ahead and show you another feature that I have recently added, and that is a feature that I think is going to be very, very handy whenever it comes to managing a server because, well, quite frankly, it's something that we always forget about until, well, it reminds us. So we can go ahead and close this down. We're going to bring up our PowerShell and we are going to run our new version of the BDS Sidekick. That new version of the BDS Sidekick, you might notice something a little bit different. And that is down here at the bottom. Well, you can see that my drive space is just about full. I have 11.45 gigabytes free, which it's getting very close to being full. I know I have a whole lot of stuff inside of my C drive. So this is going to essentially import the data from the drive that you have your Bedrock dedicated server Sidekick folder in, and it's going to import the drive letter, the space used, the total space, and then of course it's going to do a little bit of math to figure out the free space that you have left. I have also added some additional things inside of the config file here. At the very bottom we have full drive warning. This is set to true. We have drive warning in game, which is set to true. And then we have disk warning threshold. This is going to be the percentage that you will want the system to warn you at. So once it's 98% full, then it's going to warn you. Now you can set this to whatever you would like. To make this a little easier, I will probably end up adding a percentage somewhere in here that will reflect how many percent the drive is full. So let's go ahead and start the server. And I'm not quite sure if this constitutes 98% yet. I don't believe it does because I have freed up a little bit of space here. So let me go ahead and put this down to 90%. We're going to save this. We're going to stop the server. And then we're going to restart it. That way it can update that config file. So we can close that and then we can reopen it. And as you can see, now that we are above the 90% threshold that we put inside of the config, it's going to give us a low disk space warning. You are 97.5% full. Please clean the hard drive. Now this will update the disk space every minute. And if it does exceed the threshold set inside of the config folder, then it's going to throw this warning. However, it will only throw it once during the duration of the server being opened. So if you exit out of it, then it's not going to throw it again until you restart the actual server. That way it's not continuously popping up. The next thing is if we bring up the Minecraft game and then we go into this world, and I can't go into that world because that's the wrong one. And I think that we should probably start the server first in order to make that happen. So now we should have the LAN world opened. And if we join here, it should reflect on the console, as you can see. And as soon as the player is detected to join, it's going to start a timer of 3 minutes. And then after 3 minutes, it's going to actually send a in-game message showing that the drive is full and that it needs to be clean. And thankfully for editing, what has been 3 minutes for me has been a fraction of a second for you. And as you can see with a quick jump cut, we have warning, server drive space is nearly full. Now, whenever I originally programmed this, I put the 3 minute window, that way it can account for the slow worlds that are going to be loading in players. That way it doesn't try to send the message before the player has actually spawned. And then I got thinking about it, well, I can just use the initial spawn of the player. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to have this flag the message probably 30 seconds after the player spawns. That way there's a high probability that that will be seen. Now, if you don't like either one of these features, they can be turned off inside of the config folder. So you can turn off the full drive warning and you can turn off the drive warning in game. Both of these do function separately, so you should be able to use one without the other. So if you don't like either one of these, just put them both on lowercase false and it will disable them from working whenever the world runs. So With that being said, that is the BDS server Sidekick. Let me know what you think of it down inside of the comments below. Go over and download it if you utilize the BDS server software. I think that this is going to make using BDS so much more practical and a lot more enjoyable. Now keep in mind I have added a ton of features to this, which means with every little line of code that I add is a possibility for bugs. Furthermore, in order for me to build this, I had to learn an entirely new programming language and learn things such as compiling, multi-threading, and things of that nature. So keep that in mind. You may find a bug here or there, or the whole thing might be loaded full of bugs that I have yet to discover. But this is going to be a continuous project, so if you find any bugs, please let me know inside of my Discord server, or you can drop them inside of the comments below. If you think of any features that would be really cool to add to this, I do have a plethora of ideas that I'm going to be potentially adding to it, but of course I'm going to have to try those out and make sure that they are actually practical. But with that, that's going to be all from me. I surely hope that you enjoy this. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please drop them down inside of the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!